That's stupid people are.
No one's.
Fuck.
I mean, people said they were going to leave the country because Obama was elected. People said they were
Right.
going to leave the country because Bush was elected. They're still here, aren't they?
They are. They're still fucking here. Now, I'll admit, I did say I was going to leave the country when Obama was reelected. I do have property in other countries, so if I wanted to, I could. I have some property in other countries, so if I wanted to, I could. But I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, why? You know what it is? You know what the best? You know what there's a meme going out about Trump. That's probably the best way to describe this whole Trump election, right? It's the seventh. It's the what is it? I don't even know how many stages, but it's like the 5 stages of death, right? First, you dismiss it. I don't have. Trump's not going to get elected. You know, Trump. He's just a big blowhard or whatever. The second stage is, what is it? Worry or something. Well, fuck. He might actually, get the election. He might actually win. The third stage is anger. What the fuck? He's gonna win? This piece of shit. He's a bastard. He's a racist. He's a sexist. He hates Muslims. He hates Mexicans. He hates this. The fourth one is complete, just like, oh my god, he's gonna win. This is fucking it. I'm moving to Canada. I gotta move. I can't believe he fucking is gonna win. I just can't. No. And then the fifth is acceptance. Ironically, acceptance when it comes to Donald Trump winning the election means more money in your pocket, means a better state of mind, and means more freedom in your own country. And so you accept the fact that Donald Trump is president. And then you can die happy. You died knowing that Donald Trump made your life better because he isn't begging the establishment. He's coming to the folks. He's coming to the people who are going to elect him. He's not going to the people who want nothing to do with him. And he's winning Democrats, he's winning independents, he's winning all these people because he's out there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
That's the other thing that's driving the Republicans nuts. He's bringing in minority voters. He's bringing in Latinos. He's bringing in women. He's bringing in all these people they said that they were going to bring in for years, and they never did, and they never tried to.
Exactly.
And he's like,
even though they desperately wanted to bring in those people,
they kept saying, "Oh, we want to bring in Latino voters. We want to bring in black voters. We want to bring in women."
And it worked. It worked to a small extent because when Reagan let them all in, they were voting Republican.
Yeah.
It worked to a small extent. I still know a lot of Hispanics that came in during that first wave when Reagan said yes, and they all started coming in. I know a few Hispanics who were part of that wave, and they are still adamantly Republican because Reagan let them come into the country.
And now people are like, "Oh my God, how could any self-respecting Hispanic vote for Donald Trump?" So yeah, Ed, why don't you explain to the white liberals out there who just can't possibly fathom why Latinos and other minorities would possibly want to vote for Donald Trump?
Well, okay. First off, Donald Trump. Okay, all the other candidates, I don't know really what a lot of their positions on immigration is, but something tells me it has to do with namby-pamby shit, and, we're going to work with the Democrats, and we're going to have a comprehensive immigration plan, and no. This is why Donald Trump is saying we're going to build a wall. Because, one, Mexicans, I'm going to say, I know it's immigration, and I know we're talking about, but that's basically what he's trying to get to, and this is why he's reaching the Hispanic vote. And it's because of this large influx of, in particular, Mexicans. Now, these Mexicans, for the past 10, 15 years, have literally been dealing with a corrupt government which is draining their social programs on God knows what, are completely giving away all of their natural oil resources that aren't in the Gulf of Mexico, are giving away all these natural resources to companies that are just milking them. The Mexican government is as corrupt and as evil as any other government has been. And the Mexican people, rightly so, for the past 15 years have understood that Mexico is not the Mexico that their parents, their grandparents, and whoever else has told them about with their magic fucking Aztec warrior dresses or whatever. Mexico is a shithole. And all Mexicans know this. That's why they try to come here so that they can get a better life. Now, I know it seems like, oh, that sounds racist. It's not. Because it's why my family came here. They left shitty situations and decided to come to the United States to have a better life. You want to know something, to be quite honest? I'll know how my father feels about it, but my mother, she can't believe how shitty the country's become. She cries to me sometimes saying, oh my God, I thought I did the right thing 20 years ago when I decided to 30 years ago when I decided to become a citizen or become a part of this country. So Mexicans in particular, these new ones, understand what is on the other side of that, what's going to be on the other side of that wall. And it's going to be drug cartels, it's going to be corrupt polices, the corrupt policia, it's going to be the handouts and all these things that aren't helping Mexico. Like, I had a friend come over to me, hey, you know what the best thing about Mexico is? Everywhere you go, you see a taqueria. Everywhere you go, someone's selling food to you. Everyone wants to sell food to every single person, every household in the entire cities. They all have little taquerias where you can go in and have yourself a good meal. That's not the sign of a good economy. The sign of a good economy is people going out of their way to have one particular, two particular, three particular places. A restaurant where the community can come together and eat there, as opposed to one or two people agreeing that they should share in, the cooking responsibilities in the day. It's ridiculous. That's not how you survive as an economy in general, let alone in Mexico, where everybody is dirt poor. Everybody doesn't know. Almost everyone in Mexico is illiterate, even though they claim to have the best schools and they claim to do this. And no, I come from a civilized Hispanic country where you're taught English at the beginning of your school life, and you're expected to speak English by the end of it, fluently, because the teachers don't speak anything but English to you. So Mexico understand the Latinos in the United States and everything. They understand that there's this whole influx of horrible shit going on in Mexico, and so building a wall to keep that stuff out seems like a pretty good idea. Especially when there's going to be especially when every day there's a huge immigrant population coming through that's taking even more jobs away from people, that's mixing in with the wrong kind of crowds, that's bringing in more and more drugs into the country that, quite frankly, the United States doesn't need. Not that I'm for the drug war or anything, but the United States doesn't need low grade, horrible, street drugs that, nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah, by the way, folks, if you're going to do drugs, make sure you buy American.
Right. If you're going to buy drugs, make sure it's American and make sure it's weed, because, god damn it. Buy my drugs. Anyway. But that's what,
look for the Union label and buy American.
Fuck the Union label.
That was an old Johnny Carson bit. Look for the Union label, buy American.
Right. Fuck the Union label, just go green. Or purple or blue or dream. I have a nice tangerine haze right now. Anyway, but that's what it is that illegals know the kind of problems that are going on in their countries, and that's why they're coming here, to make sure that they stay away from their countries. They don't want any more of their countrymen coming over here, because they know how shitty life is there. And they don't want to have this place be shitty too. That's the thing, is like, there's a lot of Latinos that come to, there's a lot of, in particular Latinos, because they're the ones that are becoming a larger group. They're the ones that are becoming the largest minority right now. I think, and they say like 25 years, 30 years, they'll be a majority.
They'll be the majority, which makes no sense. They'll just be the majority.
Yeah, we'll be the majority. And you want to know something? The reason why, to be quite honest, The reason why is because we're better to get along with than some other people that want to cut your head off or do things like that. That don't want to play along with the American way of life, and it's conflicting to me because if I say bad things against Latinos, then I'm a horrible, I'm a race traitor and I'm all this other shit. Because I've had my family tell me that already, supporting Trump, so that's cool with me. But if I don't say these things, then more people assume that it's a great idea just to let people in, and it's really not.
Which, by the way, just for the record, we have no problem with legal immigration.
No, legal immigration is perfectly fine.
It's illegal immigration that's the problem.
Yeah, it's illegal immigration that's a problem.
If you want to come through all the proper channels, get all the proper paperwork, come through, all the proper pathways, whatever it is. I don't know how it's. I hear there's a lot of they make you jump through a lot of hoops and ladders or whatever it is they make you do now. I know it's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. My mother literally, she came here in 1976, right?
Right.
She came here in 1976. She didn't become a U.S. citizen. This is how bad the paperwork is to become a U.S. citizen in the United States. She didn't become a U.S. citizen until 1998.
Damn, jeez.
That's how long it took for her application to go all the way through the channels, for her to go through all the meetings, all the things, for the whole process to go through. It went from 1976 to 1998. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a better immigration system than what we've been having for the past 40, 50 years.
And that's just standard U.S. bureaucracy.
Right. That's just bureaucracy getting in the way, clogging the system up. And we think that it's they're just checking, they're double checking who's coming into the country. They're not. I think a big hole in the middle of Times Square or wherever, it kind of proves that.
It's literally because they're just going paper by paper. It's because nothing is electronic, nothing's streamlined. It's literally because we're like, well, we got to send you this, but we got to send it to this paper, we got to send it to this office. Now we got to send it to this office.
Right.
We got to send it back to this office, but we got to send it to this office, and it's all manual. We got to send it to this department, but we got to send it to this department. Now we got to send.
Meanwhile, whoever's living in this country while this whole process is going on, they could be horrible.
Right. Meanwhile,
they could be the best Americans in the world. Don't get me wrong. Red, white, and blue. USA. Okay. All that. I don't deny that. I've seen them. The Pedros that come out and they fucking have the USA cap. And they come out on Cinco de Mayo with their USA garb, with their USC T-shirt that fucking Ronald Reagan handed to them back in 1984. All this the USA khakis, the ones that have like the blue khakis with the stars on them. Everything. They look like Uncle Sam went to fuck, what's that place called? Please edit this whole thing right here.
It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Apu suddenly likes the New York Mets.
Right. Yeah, these Pedros, they come out and they look like Uncle Sam just spent spring break in Cancun.
Yeah.
And
that's howdy, partner. Do you like my new attire? I am a supporter of the Nye Mets.
Right. So, that's what it's, and I think that's even worse than me supporting Trump, to be quite honest. Holy shit. But I've seen that, and there are those ones, but then there are also ones that beat the crap out of people, join gangs, and are real stressors in life that make life a lot more dangerous to live in, especially in the United States of America.
The government basically has no way to check up on people whose visas. There are people whose visas just expire, and the government's just like,
who cares?
Who cares?
It's all right. Hey, they've been here long enough. I'm sure they're paying taxes.
Yeah, their visa. Their visa expired 10 years ago. Who cares? Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. Yeah. So that's.
Meanwhile, I think I remember when I was watching the mainstream media, there was like a month where 18 or 20 illegal immigrants, all Mexican, but they were all labeled white because they're they're the same Latino I am, just really fucking pale. So, but they were all labeled as white people, but they were all illegal immigrants. And they were all either raping or running people over or punching grannies in the face. All this shit. Right? And it's like, holy crap. Now, granted, it's the mainstream media telling me this, and I'm not. You can't take everything the mainstream media says. You can't even take it with alcohol. Fuck. It's impossible to swallow whatever the fuck they're giving you. But I remember watching those reports and just going, holy shit, that's a horrible problem. And then people will think that of me because I'm that kind of white. I'm that kind of Latino. I'm that kind of color. I'm that kind of whatever. And then I had George Zimmerman come along, and suddenly everyone thinks I look like George Zimmerman. And I'm suddenly fucking having to deal with this shit. And how could I possibly agree with wanting to kill a young black boy in the prime of his life? He didn't do nothing.
No, but you see, George Zimmerman wasn't Latino. George Zimmerman was white. He wasn't an ethnic.
Right, exactly.
He wasn't Latino. He was white. What are you talking about?
He was white until they broke down. You know what the worst part is? That they actually broke down like George Zimmerman's like genetics.
Yeah.
Right. And it turns out he's exactly from the same place I'm from. He's exactly his grandfather, his father's everything. He literally is me.
Oh God! Oh, he is.
Genetically, he's the exact same thing as I am.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay. You try fucking living with that in a black neighborhood, right? And on top of that, have Latinos look at you and fucking go, "You son of a bitch! Why'd you fucking do all this shit to us?"
Well, if it's any consolation, at least you didn't have a darker tan.
I did at the time.
Oh, you did?
The only reason why I don't have a dark tan now is because it's winter and it's raining.
Oh, jeez.
So, during the summer, I'm dark. That's another thing. During the summer, I'm as dark as you can get. I look fantastic. I look exactly what every white person wishes they look like when they get spray tanned, and I feel fantastic during the summer because I'm nice. I'm bronzed. During the winter, it's horrible. I get all pale, but I still have the tan marks, right? Because I actually am Latino. So my complexion is that of like a glazed donut. It's horrible. I hate the winter. I wish it would be sunny. I wish global warming would happen and the winter would just go away, but no.
I have that complexion all year round, so I'm just pasty white all year round.
Yeah, but that's because you're whatever. You're white.
I'm Irish and I'm part Irish, part Italian, part Greek. Not good complexions. Not good sun-bearing complexions.
Yeah, but the Greek and the Italian part, you should at least be able to go out in the sun.
Yeah, but the Irish part, doesn't help.
That's true. When you put white out on something, it goes all over the place.
Right. the Irish and Italian part helps, but with Irish and English blood in me, it doesn't help.
Yeah. No. It's really hard to break through the pale.
Yeah. I made the mistake of going to a baseball game last summer and forgetting to bring sunblock. End of the game. Oh my God.
Your entire face was nothing but ginger.
No, my face and my arm was burned, and let me tell you, you sit in a car. You're sitting in a car in a traffic jam. That is a painful car ride home.
Right.
But yeah.
So that's why Latinos, to go back to the whole thing, because we just did a whole bit or whatever. Latinos are voting for Trump because Trump is saying that he's gonna defend the Latinos that are in here already. Because he knows the Latinos, he knows he can't get rid of the Latinos. He's saying he's gonna deport. He's saying who cares what he says? We know that he can't. See, that's the thing, is that, oh my God, he's gonna deport him. No, dummies. Why are you so scared of what's actually possible? You know he can't. Why are you so worried about it?
Sure, it would be nice to deport 11 million people, but it's not going to happen.
Right. It sounds fantastic to say, though, right? To know that you can say, hey, you know what? You've been fucking up my country for a long time. Get the fuck out. And this isn't even like a white, black, even though blacks are for Trump because he plans on kicking a few of these illegals out so they can go back and blacks can go back and get their jobs back.
And besides, when he's talking about illegals, he's not specifically talking about just Latinos and Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other ethnic groups that cover illegals.
Right.
Just looking around Brooklyn right now. That covers a lot of other ethnicities.
Right.
Ooh, I had trouble getting that one out. Yo.
Can you imagine what would happen if Trump linked a trade deal with China to how many immigrants China is allowed to bring in?
Oh my God. Well,
or he made a trade deal with India to limit how many people from India can come in? Silicon Valley is fucking dying out there, man. Silicon Valley has to import people because they want to have people that work cheap and are used to working cheap.
Right.
But the people who want to work in Silicon Valley, the ones who spent their lives in this country trying to build themselves up and make themselves better in the STEM fields, can't go to Silicon Valley and get a job because they know that some Haji or some fucking yin yang is going to come over and fucking take their job at a much cheaper rate. That's not fair. Yeah, I did. And you want to know something? I know for a fact there's people all over Silicon Valley right now that are perfectly fine with me saying that.
I'm sure there are, but
not because they're racist, and not because I'm racist, but not because they're racist, but because they think they should get a job first.
Well, yeah.
And you want to know something? Even if we believe in globalization, which I kind of do, I understand the concept of globalization. I understand all that. But see, I'm also the idea that we should have, our own country should be our own country, right?
Right.
So we should be the ones getting the jobs first in line, regardless of how many great people are coming over and making it easier and making it better and making America great again and making it the melting pot it should be and all this other garbage. As great as bringing in people from China and India, I haven't said anything about Mexicans. As great as bringing people from China and India is for the melting pot, it's killing people in Silicon Valley who worked so hard to get into places and to work so hard to get into what should be the most lucrative business in the entire country. I think what probably is the STEM fields. They all have these STEM degrees, and now they can't do anything. It's like the people in it's like when people in Russia during communist Russia or communist Poland. It's in particular the Polish when they would come to the United States, right?
Yeah.
And they would say that I'm an engineer, but they're fucking taxi drivers. I'm an engineer. You're a taxi driver. I'm an engineer. I'm a scientist. You're a janitor. Why, if you're a scientist, if you're a engineer, if you're a mathematician, why don't you have a job being a scientist, an engineer, or a mathematician? Oh, because in Poland, during the communist times, they would just tell you you're a fucking scientist and an engineer. They would just give it to you, the paperwork, here you go. Because they would just teach you how to do one thing over and over and over again, and that made you an engineer. Because there's no bosses, nobody's above you, you're all engineers.
I remember an old episode of ER like that where some woman who was working in the ER, she was from I think not Poland, Russia or something, Poland, and she was working as like a cleaner or something for the hospital, and and something happens in the hospital, and she there was like a lockdown or something, and she jumps into action. She saves the guy's life, like opening him up and just performing an emergency surgery on the spot. And they say, how the hell did you know how to do that? And she said, in Poland I was a thoracic surgeon. But I come to America, I can't be doing that because I have to go to school to become certified again. Right. Yeah.
We're not even, and that's not even going into the actual people that actually are engineers that are fucking working a taxi job.
Right.
Okay? Like, you have to understand, everybody was an engineer back then in those places. Even if you were just the guy that fucking turned the crank on the machine so that it worked, you were an engineer. So the people who actually are talented, the people who actually are dedicated, the people who actually are somebody that the United States wants from places like India, from places like China, from places like Japan, from places like Vietnam, from places like Hong Kong, from places like Israel, from places like Saudi Arabia, from places like Iran, from places like all of these places that are exploding, all of these places, they are buried. They're buried in a bunch of bureaucracy, and when they come here, they're going to find out that there's no jobs here either. It's horrible because the people who don't have it are getting the jobs.
And the jobs we do have, we're shipping back overseas.
Exactly. What the fuck? At a rate that is it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that the United States should not be having its own workforce. Unacceptable. I don't know what the fuck happened. Where the fuck are all these politicians who are now suddenly so upset and so taken aback and so, oh, those sons of bitches, we'll get them? Where were these politicians, these exact same politicians, by the way, who've been around for the past 20, 30, 40 years? Where were these politicians when we were supposed to be doing all this? When we were supposed to be taking care of the best people that were coming in? We did it during World War II. How the fuck did we allow Germans to come in during World War II?
Well, because what was his name? The guy who was in charge of the rocket program.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, well, you're pretty good, so maybe you can work on our rocket program.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying regular Germans, because my father was a regular German. He came to the United States during World War II.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about regular Germans. How were they allowed to come to the United States? I mean, they're regular people. You want to know why? You want to know how? You want to know why people enjoy Germans coming to the United States? It took them 5 to 6 years of persecution and racism and a whole bunch of horrible shit to happen to them in order for them to be accepted into the United States. But you want to know how? You want to know how they came about and became part of the melting pot? How fucking Wiener Schnitzel became part of the melting pot of the United States?
How?
They worked and they behaved themselves. They started their own shit and worked and behaved themselves. That's it. That's what happened. That's what happened the first time they came in during the Revolutionary War. The second time they came in after the Civil War, the third time they came in after World War I, the fourth time they came in after World War II, and the fifth time they came in when the Berlin Wall came down. They worked, they got along with the people, they didn't start trouble, and they behaved themselves. That's it. That's all we want as Americans. That's all people want. From white Americans to black Americans to yellow Americans to brown Americans to pink Americans to orange Americans to purple Americans, because I know there's some purple people eaters up in Minnesota. Oi, oi, oi! From all these different types of Americans, all we want you to do is work and behave. That's it. If you can do that, you can be accepted into this country, and that includes the Muslims. I don't want to call them Muslims because they're not Muslim as a people. They're Muslim as a religion, right? Yeah, so the Arabs.
Well, there's Arabs, Persians.
Right, but they're all Arabs. I mean, they're Syrians and Libyans, but come on, that's the reason why I said Germans in particular, because that one I could be specific. This I don't have to be that specific. I could just say Arabs. That's why I just say Latinos or whatever. So Arabs. That's what we're telling the Arabs. Arabs, all we want you to do is come here, work, and behave. And a lot of you all come. And you want to know what the best part is? A lot of Arabs come into the United States and build businesses and behave and do the right thing all the time, and it's fantastic. It's great. I love Arab people. The women are some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, they are.
I can't deny that. It's those dark, beautiful lashes, it's those dark, beautiful eyes that they have, and they all they look gorgeous. And there's certain Arabs that are different from other Arabs, and that's why I love all of them. Ladies, Arab ladies, I love all of you. Arab men, they are some of the most dedicated and loyal people you'll ever find in your life. They are completely they're quick. They figure things out right away. I like talking to them. They're very, I'm not going to say conversational. I'm not going to say engaging. I'm going to say they're very good at, they're very good at camaraderie. Like, they can understand you when you're talking about something, They get you. Arab people are amazing. And they all come, and a lot of them come here and they work hard. They raise families, which is nice. They are a credit to their communities, and they also do a really, really good job at just behaving. Being a mensch, being a decent human being.
Being a mensch.
There's a lot of Arab people out there that are just fantastic, just decent human beings. And that's all we ask. That's all we ask from any kind of race, any kind of people, any kind of creed. That's the best part about America. It literally is, we don't care what you are, we just care what you do.
Right.
And when you have a bunch of people, that's why I feel bad for Arabs, because then there's some asshole in San Bernardino that fucks shit up.
Right.
And then that's why I feel bad for Mexicans, because there's some assholes that decide to rape and pillage and beat up grannies and all this other shit. That's why I feel bad for black people, because there's always somebody that decides that, you know what, I'm going to do some crazy ass shit because guess what, I happen to be black. I feel bad for all of these people. I feel bad for white people because there's always some hillbilly fucking screwing up their children, smoking crystal meth in their face and making them drink Mountain Dew. I feel bad for all of these people. That's the reason why I tell everybody, you want to live a great life, you want to live a perfect life, don't hit your children and learn how to save your money. And you've officially made the world better. You've made the world better by doing those two things. But I feel bad for those people because those people are because they have to do the same thing I have to do. They have to carry a burden on what other assholes did. And that burden, if there's any kind of I don't know if it's a privilege or anything, but if there's any kind of guilt or any kind of anything like that, one, it's man-made. Nobody should feel guilty about anything. Unless they actually did something that they're guilty for. OJ. Looks like we found the knife. Anyway, nobody should feel guilty for what anybody else has ever done, even in their name, even in their whatever. Nobody should feel guilty about anything. Nobody should believe that they have privilege over anybody. Nobody should believe people have privilege over them. Nobody should feel guilty over anything. And it's another thing I love about the Arabs. That's another thing I love about Asian people. Asians, Jews, and Arabs don't give a fuck. They don't have any guilt about anything. Yeah, we did this. Yeah, you bring up history. Oh, there was this historical thing. And they don't give a fuck. That wasn't them. I do the same thing when somebody tells me about racism in the United States. And, this and all that and the Civil War. I don't give a fuck. My family wasn't here.
Yeah, that's the thing that people are harping on about Trump. Like, oh, he did this in the past. He did this in the past. Who cares about the past? We're worried about the future.
Right, who cares about the past? Why are people so worried about the past? If you don't pay attention to the past, you're doomed to repeat it. Really? That certainly makes sense, considering the fact we've been using nothing but politicians to be our president, and we've had nothing but problems.
I mean, look at the GOP right now. They're stuck in the past. I mean, they're for Christ's sake, they want to bring they're hitching they're going to hitch their post onto Mitt Romney again.
Right. Repeating the past, doomed to repeat it. There it is. So nobody should feel guilty about anything. But this is a whole different segment, I understand. But number two, I get where people feel guilty about things. I understand that whole thing. Because somebody's telling them that they should feel guilty about something that had nothing to do with, and I get why, and if you have that happen to you all the time, I get why you should probably feel guilty about it, right? And I'm not saying just oh, white people, get told that they're racist all the time. Black people get told all the time that they're murderers, rapists, and thieves. Latino people get told all the time that they're lazy, good for nothing, bean eaters.
White people get told all the time, oh, they're racist, redneck, everything.
Racist. The worst thing in the world. I don't know where black people really sit on this. I don't know where Latino people sit on this. The worst thing in the world to be the worst thing in the world to be is a straight white male.
Oh yes, I know. I'm apparently a cis white male. What do they call him? Cis white male?
I don't know.
It
It all starts sounding like cult language to me after a while.
Yeah.
I studied Scientology. I don't have time for another fucking cult.
I've been told I'm a cis white male with privilege. I've been told that's a bad thing, or I guess, but I thought privilege was a good thing.
Right.
So
You're privileged. How am I privileged?
I thought privilege was a good thing, so I don't know.
But I mean, nobody has any of that over you, and I get why people get it, because people are told all the time that this is what happened and that is what happened and blah 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 this and blah 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 that, and oh my god. And then people read books. How stupid are you to read a book? Oh my god, people please don't read. Whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, please don't read books. Don't read books. Think for yourself, please. Think out with the whole fucking scenario and everything. Think about what's going on in the world and how you're perceiving it. Now, if you perceive it to be racist, then that means you're a racist. That doesn't mean everyone else is. Do you understand? Take responsibility. Don't blame it on a book that you read. Take responsibility for the idea that if you think everyone else is racist against you, that means you're the racist. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if it's natural, right? That's what I mean. Be natural. If it's a natural instinct, without you reading books about it, without you being told ever since you were a kid that, the whitey's been keeping you down and all this other shit, right? If you can live a life without any of that, right? And you still look at another race and hate their guts and want them to die and want them to fucking get erased off the face of the earth, and you think that that's what they think personally about you, you're the racist. And that's without the help of growing up, being told that people are holding you down, being told that you're worth nothing, seeing your parents fucking own nothing, be attributed to nothing, have nothing, desperately waiting by the fucking mailbox so they can make sure to get it's the first of the month. It's the first of the month. Wake up. Yeah, it's fucking horrible. It's horrible, and that's the worst way to live. And there's nothing honorable about that. I had somebody try to tell me about that the other day. Someone told me that this is honorable. There's nothing honorable about waiting for your welfare check. It's honorable to go out and go get a job, go do something with your life, work on something. Work on something. I'm not even saying to get money. I'm just saying work on something. Work on something that betters you. Doesn't better everybody else, doesn't better the world. Don't worry about the world. If they see what you're doing and you're bettering yourself, they're going to want to know what you're doing. But for some reason, there's a whole community of people that think that is the wrong way to think. And the right way to think is that everybody's against you. Everybody's got it out for you. Everybody's your enemy. It's sad.
Very.
It's sad that the human race has come down to this. And then we wonder, when Trump, who is uniting everybody,
and the Republican Party is like, well, what are we going to do to stop this?
And the Democrats are going, oh my God, he's the nutcase. He's the nutcase that's reuniting everybody together and all this shit. The guy who's bringing everybody together is being called the crazy man who's dangerous. You know who else they call the crazy man who's dangerous?
Who?
Jesus.
Oh my God. We are not about to start comparing Trump to Jesus.
I don't compare him to Jesus. I'm just saying Jesus was a dangerous man who everybody thought was a joke until he got serious, and then They got rid of him.
This is true.
And you want to know what they're trying to? And that's exactly what they're trying to do with Trump. They were laughing at him. Now they're taking him seriously. Now they're trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, the Republican Party is definitely going to try to forget about him. Get rid of him. They're going to try to, if they can't get, if their plan to, if Kasich wins Ohio, and if little Marquito can somehow pull off, if little Marquito can somehow pull off a Christmas miracle and win Florida, which looks like it's impossible, even with vote rigging and everything else, and win Florida, but Kasich wins Ohio, which is even since he is the governor and all, so I guess people like him there.
Right.
If Kasich wins Ohio,
that's the thing, is that it doesn't. I'm sorry. Continue on your point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kasich wins Ohio, then that's a lot of delegates that Kasich gets. Trump is probably going to fall short of what he needs to win the nomination on the first ballot. That's going to be enough for what they need to get for them to try for their broker convention ploy.
Mm-hmm.
And all bets are off at that point.
Right. And that's the thing, is that Trump wins even if he comes in second.
Yeah.
Trump wins even if he comes in second, because those people who are voting for Trump and want Trump to be the nominee and want the Republican Party will implode. They think it's going to be an explosion. They think it's going to be a kaboom. No, it's going to be a sinkhole. It's going to be a bloop. Where the fuck did it go? It's going to be like being in quicksand in a video game, where you have to keep on pressing the jump button to get out of it.
So just remember, folks, what we said at the very beginning of the show. And if you made it this far, congratulations. Everything about Donald Trump is a calculated, staged thing. He's not really this crazy. Everything he's doing, it's all a staged gimmick. It's all an act.
Right.
He's not really like, acting like, he's not really acting like a crazed person. It's all perfectly calculated what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He's done this for like the last 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
In business and everything he does. Everything is a calculated risk.
Can you tell me?
This is the biggest one of his life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What were we going to say?
Can you tell me another businessman for 40 years that has the name recognition of Donald Trump?
Not in this generation.
Steve Wynn calls his casinos Wynn. That's great. Steve Wynn, the reason why I know who Steve Wynn is I've been to his casinos.
Are they any good?
They're pretty good. I like Steve Wynn's casinos.
I mean, they'd have to be pretty good if he calls them Wynn.
Right. He's the only... when I was a kid, I didn't know who anybody was. I knew who Donald Trump was.
Yeah. I didn't know any other...
And that was the 80s and that was the 90s. I don't remember any businessman. Any of them. And I know who fucking Sidney Greenspan is. So, as a kid, I had no idea who any of these business people were. I know who Donald Trump was.
Yeah. I mean, here in New York, I didn't know who, I knew who Rockefeller was because of Rockefeller Center.
Mm-hmm.
That was about it.
Right. I knew Henry Ford owned Ford because...
Yeah, I knew who Henry Ford was because of Ford. I knew who Chrysler was because of Chrysler, because my grandfather loved Chrysler.
And of course, who could forget the great businessman Chef Boyardee? We all know who he is with his raviolis and his SpaghettiOs.
The best thing Chef Boyardee could have ever done was just bottle his damn sauce. The meat sauce for his raviolis is the best thing ever. The
best thing ever. It's really good. I mean, that's how he built his empire.
But seriously, folks, if you want to really watch a good thing on Donald Trump, watch the making of Trump that was on the History Channel a couple of months ago. It really shows you what he did to build this city, to build New York.
Right. And
I mean, it's not completely biased. I mean, it's a little biased here and there, but I mean, it does show a pretty good representation of what he was able to do in this city.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly believe. I mean, like I said, I haven't truly decided if I'm going to vote for him, but I honestly believe if he were at least elected, if given a chance, he could streamline a lot of things in this country, and he could probably take control of a lot of projects, at least from public works. I mean, my God, if he could take over federal works projects in this country.
I want Donald Trump to negotiate with the unions. I want Donald Trump to be the one that goes in there and says, "Listen, guys, we got to deal with something, and you guys got to work better." And I know the unions will be again. The unions, because the unions are fucking whiny babies. The unions will fight it the whole way through. No, we're not gonna work. We're not gonna. Donald Trump will go, "That's fine. That's fine. That's good. You not work. I'll just hire other people that will work." Because guess what? Donald Trump doesn't mind hiring scabs. Donald Trump will hire whoever gets the job done. Okay.
I mean, hell, look at Ronald Reagan. He when the air traffic controllers went on strike, he fired them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Donald Trump does not give a shit if you want to complain about how your union contract says that sitting on your ass 16 hours a day is a great way to collect $50 an hour. But Donald Trump doesn't think that's going to be a good idea. Donald Trump's going to make sure that those public works and everything get straightened out. He's making the Mexicans build the fucking wall. You think this guy doesn't know how to fucking work these things? Holy crap! You want to know something? You want to know how he's going to probably get people to work on the wall? How he's going to get Mexicans to work on the wall? He's going to go, "Hey, if you work on the wall, if you sign your name on working on the wall and everything else, you get citizenship."
Well, at least maybe a visa or green card.
You get a visa or a green card. You get to actually stay in this country. You get to actually stay in this country without the worry and war. The worry about fucking INS or whatever the fuck coming into your or ICE or whatever, fucking knocking on your door and fucking taking you back to wherever you came from. And you want to know something? With the Muslim threats that are going on right now all over the world, I think Arab people should be very, very concerned about that. That there's going to be immigration probably knocking on their door, trying to figure out who in the world, who's this, who's that, and all those other things. And why is this person legal and why is this person illegal? Donald Trump is going to make sure that wall's built.
And Mexico's going to pay for it.
And Mexico's going to pay for it.
You know how Mexico's going to pay for it? He
didn't say Mexicans are going to build a wall. He said Mexico's going to pay for the wall. Mexico's going to build that wall.
And he says, you know how you know Mexico's going to pay for it? Because he was watching that speech he gave the other night. He said, we have a $58 billion trade gap with Mexico. And he said, building the wall with Mexico would cost about $10 billion. Because it would be about 2,000 miles, give or take, and it wouldn't be a complete wall because there's still, there's plenty of natural barriers.
Right.
Some mountains, the rivers, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we're holding back. We're going to be holding back that money. That's how they pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Basically. So, holy crap! You're telling me that if we just if we hold off foreign aid to certain countries, that they'll do what we tell them to do if they want that money back?
I know, it's a crazy idea.
That concept just blows my mind. Holy crap! I'm telling you, I haven't watched the doc that you're talking about, the documentary you're talking about.
Yeah, it was on. Like I said, it was on the History Channel back in beginning of January, end of December, I think.
Okay, I'll look it up and I'll watch it. But you want to know the best thing? You want to know